News here. Interesting. Israeli Prime Minister now officially considered a war criminal by the International Criminal Court, so he can be arrested in the countries that participated in this court. I think it's all of Europe, many other countries. It's about time. And let's actually watch this video here. And I don't really get into too many political things at all, and especially outside of the U.S. And as far as I'm concerned, people want to focus on Israel and this and that to distract from the real crime gang that is basically propping up Israel that runs America. You see, so I don't really care too much. But clearly, when you have the type of genocide that's going on, engaged by this psychopath, this sociopath, Benjamin Netanyahu, then it becomes an issue. It should be discussed, should be protested against, and understand. Keep in mind, remember, folks, you have certain individuals in America, people who actually are the forces behind Israel's control of America, absolute control. And understand why Israel, a tiny little country, controls the world superpower. How do they do that? Well, take a look at, it's all about money. Follow the money. Follow the money. And when you follow the money, you find the power. Take a look at the money and the power in America. You understand? And this is why they don't want people to focus on what's going on in America. Because then you're going to see the power structure. You're going to see a mafia that runs everything, that defrauds people through their control of most of the industries, right? And where do you think that money's going from? Those people at the top that are defrauding everybody through the control of their industries. It's going to Israel. It's going to Congress to make sure they support Israel in these ridiculous wars. Israel has been murdering Palestinians for decades, and they're doing that using U.S. taxpayer dollars. I don't know if you all know that. If you don't know that, you really need to open your fucking eyes. So I have a big problem. Like I said, I don't really care what goes on in the rest of the world for the most part, but I certainly care when money that I'm paying as a taxpayer is going to fund genocide. And, the entire U.S. military, which is a complete fucking joke. Anybody in the U.S. military should hold their head in fucking shame. Okay? Because you're there to fight wars for Israel, for corporate America. That's all you're there for. You're there to exploit nations. You're there to do the bidding of the power structure that runs America. You're not there to defend America. That's what you're there for. You're basically a corporate mercenary. Okay? That's fact. So let's listen to this.
The International Criminal Court has just issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, accusing them of war crimes in Gaza, and also for a top Hamas commander, also known as Mohammed Deif, who is believed to be dead. The court says it found reasonable grounds to believe the prime minister bears criminal responsibility for war crimes, including starvation as a method of warfare. And it rejected Israel's challenge of the court's jurisdiction over the matter. CNN's Nick Robertson joins us now from Jerusalem.
So the first thing I'm thinking to myself is when is everyone out there, the media, You know who runs the media. Okay. I challenge you to take a look. Great example. I was just looking at Scamberg the other day, Bloomberg. Take a look. Every single fucking person, they'll throw in a token minority. Take a look who they are. The journalists, the experts, folks, we have a discrimination problem going on that no one's talking about. But I'm waiting now for this whole establishment to start to call the International Criminal Court anti-Semitic. You're anti-Semitic. How dare you say anything bad about anyone from Israel? You're anti-Semite. That's how they operate. You know that, right? Sounds to me like anti-Semite means you're telling the truth. Now, let's be clear here. I haven't looked into the International Criminal Court. I believe I know a little bit about them from history. I've heard them off and on over the decades. And correct me if I'm wrong. You can do a search now. But, let's be fair. I do believe that arrest warrants were issued for George W. Bush, and Dick Cheney because of the atrocities from the Iraq War. Someone can look that up and verify that. I don't know. It's just from memory from, 20 years ago. But I do believe that is the case. Could be wrong. But I believe that they should have been issued arrest warrants for sure. But of course, look, the bottom line, folks, none of this stuff matters. The U.S. controls everything, right? The U.S. controls everything. So, nothing's going to happen to anyone that is from the U.S. or joined to the hip with the U.S., which would mean Netanyahu, because the U.S. runs the show. And that's good and it's bad. It's been good for quite a while, but I think you're probably starting to see how it's become bad over the past several years. It's not a good thing what's going on in America. And I'm not talking about all the woke stuff, all those societal issues. I'm talking about the U.S. getting more and more heavily involved in geopolitical issues, using military force and funding other countries, providing weaponry to other countries, not just Israel, but also Ukraine. And, the U.S., Europe, they are really pushing the envelope, empowering Ukraine now to invade Russia. I mean, I guess Europe and America want World War III. I guess that's what they're pushing for now. Unbelievable. If I was running the show, I'd make a global law as follows. Any country that's not being attacked, that helps another country through military weaponry or some type of unfair advantage, monetary advantage to empower them, that country, should be treated like a war criminal. No country should attack another country or help another country attack another country unless they're being invaded. The end. It's funny because if you look back, I'm not much of a history person, but if you look back, World War II, I do believe America was neutral, right? They were neutral. America did not want to get involved in the war. Why? Because it didn't affect America. America was not being threatened directly, right? Now, you can go and discuss whether or not, the whole Pearl Harbor thing, whether America knew and they allowed it as a way to get in. That doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is that, America used to be neutral. Now, America is pretty much behind all these wars, and it's ridiculous. And, no matter how you feel about this, you as a taxpayer, an American taxpayer, should be disgusted that your tax dollars are going to fight all these wars that have nothing to do with your country. Now, they're always going to say, oh, well, Israel's the only democracy in that part of the world. Who cares? First of all, democracy my ass. Second of all, who cares? I don't care. They're always going to give you some bullshit excuse. Bottom line, your country's not being invaded. You should not be involved in any type of military conflict. The end. I think it's common sense. But, they'll brainwash people with all kinds of bullshit. But the other thing that you want to keep in mind is you got, as I was talking about earlier, these people that control things, that, the money guys. And ask yourself, folks, take a look at the wealthiest people in America. And I'm not just talking about the top 5 or top 10. You can certainly focus on them and ask yourself, where are they getting their money? But let's take a look at the top 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Take a close look at who they are. A very close look. And understand where they get their money. And ask yourself if they're getting their money legally, honestly, or maybe they're getting it legally, certainly dishonestly, and they're skirting the rules. They're engaging in manipulation, which, it's difficult to say that they are breaking the law, per se. For instance, a great example, Elon Musk, as I warned back a month or so ago, I warned about this happening, how he was basically buying the presidency. And you can see now the latest news is what? Donald Trump is going to lower the regulatory hurdles for self-driving. You heard that? Let's take a look here. I think I pulled it up on my other. Yeah, there you go. I mean, look at this. He's not even in office yet. Elon Musk has bought the presidency. I told you guys this is what's going to happen. This is just the beginning. I mean, think about this. Speaking of Elon Musk, I saw this as well. Take a look. Oh, and also, yeah, this isn't this Rowan? Here, looks like him. I think it's him, the CEO of Apollo. Is this not him? Yeah, there we go. Apollo, yeah, that's him. So, of course, Trump is looking to name him the U.S. Treasury Secretary. I mean, what? All you Trump supporters, I thought Trump was going to drain the swamp. Are you fucking kidding me? Drain the swamp? Rowan is the swamp. He's part of the fucking swamp. You don't want to bring in some fucking Wall Street shyster into the U.S. Treasury Department. You don't want that because you know what's going to happen. Your money is ultimately going to go, you taxpayers, your money and you investors, your money is going to Wall Street even more so. You understand that, right? So how is it possible? What are you talking about? It's debt. How could it be? I'm not going to explain all the mechanisms, how it can happen. For you ding-dongs out there who don't have much intelligence to figure it out. Don't want to waste time on that, but take a look at this. So this Vivek Rem, this guy, by the way, he's such a fucking cloud-chasing con artist. I mean, I hope you guys know this. I mean, you all should know this guy is a whore to the extreme. He will do anything, say anything, betray anyone to get what he wants. Completely slimy, dishonest piece of shit. Now, you all know I don't rail these types of insults too often. I haven't said that about Elon Musk. I haven't even said that about Donald Trump or anybody else. You probably have never heard me say that. I can't recall saying that. It's about the most disgusting, pretty low this guy is. Complete piece of trash. Complete piece of trash. I guess probably the only person I would say who rivals this guy, probably even worse, is that Palapatiya con man. The SPAC con man. Palapatiya, you know. The guy that most of you people out there were fooled by. You get fooled by all these fuckers that are promoted by the media. They're promoted. They ain't on your side. Wake the fuck up. This Paul Patia guy who comes out and tries to be a populist, tell you he's on your side. Yeah, he's for the people. First red flag. He worked for Scambook. And all of a sudden now, after he made all his money working for Scambook, he wants to tell you how they're bad. Well, why don't you start off, you scammer, by fucking giving the money back? It's easy to come out after working for a criminal organization, making a ton of money, blood money. It's easy after you leave, I don't know if you've probably fired, to claim that they suck. Right? Doing that to make you think he's on your side. Right? And then what's he do? Because he wants to, folks, it's what I said before. It's about this whole SEC changed all the laws, investor laws, and Reg FD's changed. All these fucking scammers now pumping out all their private equity horse shit on ScamTube. Grant Cardone would probably not have much money in his real estate investment company if it weren't for social media. And if it weren't for the SEC changing the laws around 2014, 2015, sometime around that time, where you can actually market private equity, typically for accredited investors, to the dummies. You got it? This whole SPAC thing was part of that, although there were no laws that were changed to market towards that. SPACs have always been a scam, and they were promoted out there with this whole wave of Cathie Wood-like, Robin Hood-like democratization of investments. Yeah, you can get involved too now. Yeah, you can do it. No, you fucking can't. You're going to lose your fucking ass, dumbass. They want you to think you can do. You can't compete against me. You think you can compete against. Remember, folks, investments, Wall Street, it's a game, competitive game. There's two fucking teams, the winning team, the losing team. You're not going to ever compete against me. I can guarantee fucking damn well tell you that. You think you know more than me about investing? You're going to beat me on that investment, on that trade? You're not going to. And then you've got the bigger forces out there, the guys, the big funds, the institutions who work on insider information. They want you to, democratization, we're going to give you. Some things you better left to not deal with. You understand? It's all a scam to get you to think that you can do well and you can, I can make money. No, you can't. You'll never beat the fucking index. Guaranteed. But they want you to think all this bullshit because they're taking your money, you dumbasses. And of course, I mentioned Elon Musk now. He's involved in the government. Of course, he's going to have all these policies. Elon Musk, and I don't know how he's fooled so many people, especially now that he's turned from left wing to right wing. Right? Remember, Elon Musk was this liberal guy, right-wing guy, hug the trees, save the whales, climate change. That's what empowered his whole Tesla company, right? And of course, he knew from the beginning that climate change, the man-made climate change narrative is a complete lie. It's a hoax. But he wanted to jump on the gravy train, the taxpayer-funded gravy train. And then, of course, when he realized that Trump was probably going to win, remember, Elon Musk flip-flopped. He was never a Trump supporter. In fact, if you might recall, in the first administration, Elon Musk was part of some type of an energy cabinet, and Elon Musk left after like a few days because Trump was against the whole green machine scam, and Elon Musk departed. Look into it. So Elon Musk realized about a year ago that Trump was going to win. Biden didn't have a chance. Remember, Elon Musk was supporting Trump well before Biden stepped out of the race, when everyone knew Biden didn't have a fucking chance. Elon Musk started supporting Trump and pretending on his scam platform, Twitter, Elon, sorry, you call your little fucking platform X, you give it a stupid fucking name, I'm not going to acknowledge it. Go fuck yourself. It's Twitter. Twitter's a stupid name to begin with, but I'm not going to change to your stupid platform X. Elon Musk and that stupid Twitter platform began to embrace the whole ideology that many loyal, intelligent Americans have embraced. They are for defined borders in their country, right? They're for normal family values that they don't want a society that glamorizes and celebrates mentally ill behaviors, which I'm not going to mention. And let me just remind everyone that, by the way, if you look into the history of homosexuality, it was actually considered a mental illness. If you look into the psychological guidelines, it was considered a mental illness back in the, I believe, 50s and 60s and prior to that. I'm not going to get into why it was removed and who did it, but you might be able to guess if you take a close look at who dominates the field of psychiatry and the motives of that clique. But anyway, so Elon Musk aligned himself with this pro-American stance, which pro-American, that's, I think it's an accurate term. But of course, the establishment wants to call that, they'll say nationalist, they'll say neo-Nazi, they'll say racist, because the establishment, and this establishment, understand, this embodies organizations like IMF, World Bank, United Nations. These are global elitist establishments that advocate open borders. They have policies which specifically call for the Western world redistributing its wealth to the third world. That's right. They're saying that your money needs to go to the third world, and you need to open your borders, and you need to provide people who want to come into your country with money. That's right. I'm not exaggerating. I don't exaggerate. Remember, I'm a trained chemist, a scientist. I don't exaggerate. Okay? You can look it up. In fact, for all you idiots out there who still believe Jordan Peterson is on your fucking side, Jordan Peterson, as I said before, is an anti-white, pro-globalist. He is a gatekeeper. He has controlled opposition working for the left. Jordan Peterson has worked for the United Nations. He actually authored a paper. He wrote a paper which specifically detailed the objectives of the United Nations to redistribute the wealth from the West to the rest of the world and to open the borders of the West. If you ever ask yourself why anybody like Jordan Peterson, many others, how they rise to all this fame quickly, all of a sudden they get this big name. Folks, it's a planned situation. Jordan Peterson was empowered by the left. You understand? He's controlled opposition because he realized, and if you listen to the guy closely, you'll hear him admit that basically he's afraid that the right is going to become too awoken and the left is too extreme, and they are causing too much agitation to the right, which threatens potentially the whole agenda. In other words, the left has done so many things to actually startle and awaken the right, such that the right could rise up and cause some big problems for the left. That's why Jordan Peterson was promoted as a shill, you see, a fake guru, a fake leader for the right, to basically diffuse the right-leaning individuals. You understand? This is why, in fact, understand, Jordan Peterson has come out and said there's basically no such thing as the white race. And he wants to demonize people who have an identity of being white. That's right. So I'm not going to talk about that fraud anymore. Complete fucking profiteering piece of fucking trash. Drug addicted fucking hypocritical profiteering shill and loser. If you fell for this guy, guess what? Your judgment in things isn't too good. It's not too good. You fell for this guy, well, this is what I'm saying, folks. All these people out there that are promoted, they're all fakes. Okay, you just got to figure out what's going on. If you're promoted, it's for a reason. It ain't to help the people. It's to fuck the people. That's a fact. I mean, it's just so obvious. The problem is that you have to really understand what's going on. And, someone the other day said, well, gosh, I guess there's no one out there. That's right. Every single person. Folks, why do you think I was banned? You think there's someone out there like me that's got exposure? If you think there is, then you're being fooled. You just haven't peeled back all the layers of the onion yet. You understand? So increasingly, they create more and more people with higher levels of manipulation and sophistication, so that it's more difficult to see what's going on. And that means you have to know more and more and more. And just about nobody really knows enough in terms of the public to spot this shit out. This is why so many people are fooled. There's so many gatekeepers out there. There's so many controlled opposition tools out there that you're going to find this guy that you believe, or this guy or this guy. If you don't believe this person, well, you're going to believe this person. It's all a big circle. You can't escape it. And you think, oh, no, well, he's legit. No, they're not. Folks, I've been in this business now, looking at this shit, analyzing this shit for close to 20 years. And I'm telling you right now, they're all fakes. They're all phonies. And even people out there who they think, well, gosh, this guy was deplatformed. He's been banned. They think that's enough logic for them to think that the person is legitimate. Now, sorry, you just don't get how it all works. Okay, it's like I said before. So many fucking idiots believed Alex Jones, and they still believe this guy, this complete fraud. I mean, Alex Jones, this is like one of the lowest levels it gets. If you're falling for this guy, you have no fucking hope in this world. Alex Jones got almost 25 years to build his business of fraud and disinformation. He was never banned. And gradually, more and more, he realized who buttered his fucking bread. And that's why he made ridiculous claims such as the Federal Reserve is run by Arabs, and Hollywood is run by Arabs, and our media is run by Arabs and Chinese. That's right. I've got the fucking video clip. He was finally deplatformed because he went too far. You see? And he was being groomed for mainstream, as I talked about before. It's the person out there who's banned from day fucking one. That's a person who's a candidate. I'm not saying for certain, but certainly a fucking candidate for truthfulness, who they fear. Think about it. A person has zero reach, and they ban that person from day fucking one because they were so afraid of that person gaining a following. You understand? Guess who was banned from day fucking one? They wouldn't even publish my books, my world-class books, probably the best investment books ever written in fucking history. Somebody want to debate me on that? Show me some other books. You read this book, you can make a fortune. I lay it all out there. Right? Of course, it wasn't just that. I exposed free trade, exposed the healthcare system, I exposed the fraud on Wall Street, I exposed how the whole system operates, which is why I was banned. Because the criminal mafia stood to lose a lot of money if people realize how everything works. So let me show you this now. Take a look at this one. This is even more recent here. Elon Musk asked people to upload their medical data to X, so his AI company could learn to interpret MRIs and CAT scans. Can you believe this guy? And Elon Musk, getting back to this guy, Elon Musk is a complete fucking con man. He uses his little, let's call it antisocial type of behavior to portray himself as someone who's honest and who cares about the people. He'll give you this verbiage and tell you how AI can be dangerous. He's worried. You understand? It's kind of like Google, how they do their little bullshit. How, oh, well, yes, we're worried about information sharing, right? They're actually exposing what they're doing so as to portray themselves as not doing the crime. It's like a bank robber saying he's worried about bank robbers. So that people think, oh, okay, well, yeah, he's against bank robbers. So they don't suspect him as a bank robber. That's what Elon Musk does. And so these stupid fucking people trust this guy. Even though he flip-flopped on them, right? He turned from liberal to right-wing in order to get good graces with Trump, who he knew was going to win. Donated $132 million to Trump. I mean, and understand, folks, that campaign, I don't know the details of campaign financing, how that all works, but I do know a little bit. And any money that goes to a campaign, you have to understand something. For the most part, they can use it for anything they want as long as they associate that with kind of their political work. Just as a very basic example, I would have to believe that this $132 million, which that's what's reported, maybe it's a lot more, we don't know for sure. $132 million that Musk donated to Trump's campaign. That money, if you can imagine, is potentially going to go, just as a simple example, to Mar-a-Lago, Trump's facility in Florida, where he hosts a lot of things, right? He hosts a lot of political meetings there. You understand? So, and that's what he did in his first term. That's what he's going to continue to do. So he can scam the taxpayer. You see, if he hosts meetings, political meetings at Mar-a-Lago, well, everyone there is going to have to, they're being charged for dinner, for drinks, for whatever. And they can mark it up any fucking price they want. You understand? So Trump, basically, he could probably net easily, if he puts that $132 million, earmarks that for Mar-a-Lago events associated with political, and it doesn't have to be when Trump's in office. It can be any type of politically related meeting before he gets in office. And let's say he has 500 people there or 1,000 people there. The dinner's going to cost $500 a head or $1,000 a head. Oh, okay. You understand? So Trump could easily pocket of that $132 million pure profit after paying for the employees, for the food, so on and so forth. He could easily pocket $100 million. Easily. You understand? So think about this. You got Elon Musk now. He's supposed to be the hero, the guy you can trust. He's getting these stupid fucking idiots to upload their medical data. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And I mean, he doesn't even want to compensate them. You understand how valuable this is? He doesn't even want to say, you know what, if you upload your data to help my AI scammy product that's just going to deceive you and defraud you in the future, it's going to fuck you. If you do that, I'll pay you $200, $300. No, he doesn't do that because he knows he can fool his little groupies, his cult members, who are willingly going to do whatever. Because why? Because Elon's, he's supporting us. He's fighting for us. Yeah. You fucking idiots. You fucking idiots. Folks, anybody who's claiming to support some type of cause or movement, it's profiting from that movement, you should never trust. You understand, right? Elon Musk has commingled his business interests with his social media platform. You understand, right? I've talked about how Elon Musk basically bought Twitter for free. He got it for free. $58 billion for free. It's like, how's that possible, Mike? Because he used Twitter to manipulate Tesla stock through false statements that caused shares to soar. You understand that? His bogus full self-driving statements. You understand, right? He profited tens of billions of dollars illegally through false statements that he promoted on Twitter. He used that money. He cashed out and bought Twitter from that scam. How come no one's talking about that? It's pretty fucking obvious. Are all you people in the world that fucking stupid? You didn't see that? I mentioned that a few years ago. It's just so obvious. You people out there, you're spending all your time consuming, absorbing what all these scammers are saying. You don't question nothing. That's why you're not able to see the fucking writing on the goddamn wall. It's so fucking obvious. And if you're not able to see that, ask yourself whatever the fuck else you're not able to see. Probably nothing. And you think that you know everything. You don't know shit. You're under complete mind control by the media. Fact. 99.9% of you. Oh, we got to finish this. Let's listen to this.
And Nick, what more can you tell us?
Well, this is a very, very significant escalation. It was first announced by Karim Khan, the ICC chief prosecutor, back in May, that he was going to seek to request arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, who was the defense minister at the time, as well as 3 other senior Hamas officials, including Mohammed Deif, Ismail Haniyeh, Yahya Sinwar, the other. Those 3 are all dead. Deif believed to have been killed in July, so unclear why they've issued an arrest warrant now for him. But by overturning...
Look, let me tell you why they did that. Okay, they did it because they don't want to be accused of being an anti-Semite, of targeting Israel. You understand? That's why. This whole anti-Semite fucking term, it doesn't have any meaning anymore. It has lost meaning a long time ago. It basically means you're telling the fucking truth. Okay? And you know, there's a certain group out there that fears 2 things. They fear the truth and they fear fucking real goddamn work.
So this looks like the mother of all rallies. Many stock markets.
Scam artist Adam Koo. It's Adam Koo, right? I want you guys to go on all these trading fake investment gurus channels and just go there and just kind of float around. I don't want to subject you to watching their videos. Put it on mute and see this guy. Guarantee this guy is going to pop up. Then you're going to know for proof positive they are business partners with this guy. This Adam Koo, right? Notice he's changed his branding. Piranha Profits. Before, a long time ago, he would introduce himself as Adam Koo. He's got such a bad fucking name. Isn't that Adam Koo? Is that right?
US, China, even Singapore are near all-time highs.
This guy is a scammer. Look at it. Listen to this. The fucking
I think
idiots.
trading the fabulous 5 stocks is the biggest opportunity.
I think trading the fabulous 5 stocks. These guys are idiots.
I have made over $1.2 million.
Yeah, okay.
Trading.
Guaranteed, guys. These guys don't know how to trade their way out of a fucking corner. Complete fucking scammers. Folks, anybody promoting trading is a scammer. Okay? Write that down. You can't think about it. How are you going to trade a stock? What's your competitive advantage? Technical analysis? Are you fucking stupid? You have to have deep insight. You have to know what's going on with the company big time if you want to make any type of short-term trades. You have to understand valuation. You have to understand sentiment. You have to understand a lot. There's no just like little simple fucking trades. And that's what all these guys do. It's all about trading and using technical analysis. Technical analysis, if you think that's a competitive advantage, you're gonna lose all your fucking money. That's a fucking joke.
Meanwhile, the US has vetoed a UN Security Council resolution that called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in Gaza.
Of course.
Will those in favour of the draft resolution contained in document S/2024-835 please raise their hand? Those against?
See that?
Well, only the US.
See that? Folks, this has been going on for decades. Okay? This has been going on for decades. The UN, whether it's, always the Palestine, Israel, and the US always vetoes anything that is not pro-Israel. It's a fucking joke. Okay, it's a fucking joke. Think about that. Your tax money is going. And the whole excuse is, right, understand, Hamas is and I'm not going to say for sure, although we'll just go ahead and assume, is an allegedly terrorist organization. Okay? I haven't looked into it enough to truly see what's going on, but we'll just go ahead and go with that. Hamas is a terrorist organization in Palestine, right? So they're killing. There's a lot of collateral damage, a lot of innocent people, children, women. And whenever Israel blows up a school or hospital, they say, well, it was a Hamas hiding place. How convenient. No evidence, just okay, right? Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Yeah, Vladimir Putin as well has been charged with war crimes, of course, and it's pretty obvious. I'm not sure. I want to say that many years ago, George W. Bush and Dick Cheney were. You all could look into that. If they weren't, they certainly should have been.